Imagine walking into a high-end department store. You see tailored suits, premium fragrances, and crisp mannequins under bright studio lights. A global luxury brand worth billions, endorsed by top athletes and Hollywood celebrities. Now imagine discovering that less than a century ago, this very same factory was producing uniforms for one of the deadliest totalitarian regimes in human history. This isn't internet clickbait or an urban legend. It's historical fact, one that the company itself had to officially acknowledge. This is the true backstory of Hugo Boss. To understand how a luxury giant got tied to the Nazi Party, we have to rewind to 1924. The place is Metzingen, a small town in southern Germany. World War I had ended just 6 years prior, leaving the German economy devastated. Hyperinflation was so severe that citizens needed wheelbarrows of cash just to buy a single loaf of bread. In the middle of this economic chaos, a man named Hugo Ferdinand Boss opened a small garment factory. At first, he wasn't making expensive tuxedos or runway coats. He made basic workwear, heavy shirts, overalls, and raincoats for blue-collar workers. But as economic depression deepened across the country, his small business teetered on the brink of bankruptcy. By 1931, Hugo Boss was nearly out of options. But Germany's political landscape was shifting rapidly, and Boss saw a way out. In 1931, 2 years before Adolf Hitler became Chancellor of Germany, Hugo Ferdinand Boss officially joined the Nazi Party. He didn't wait for the regime to take total control. He aligned himself early, and that decision paid off immediately. As political violence escalated, paramilitary groups like the SA needed thousands of standardized uniforms. Boss secured government contracts to produce these brown shirts. When the regime took full power in 1933, uniform demand exploded. Boss's factory began manufacturing gear for the SS, the Hitler Youth, the Postal Service, and eventually the German military. In just a few short years, a struggling regional tailor was transformed into a major state supplier. Business wasn't just surviving, it was booming. As World War II raged on, Germany faced a critical problem. Millions of men were sent to the front lines, leaving factories severely short-staffed. To keep production lines running at maximum capacity, German industries turned to forced labor under brutal state policies. During the war, his factory exploited approximately 140 forced laborers, mostly women brought from occupied Poland and Ukraine, along with around 40 French prisoners of war. These men and women did not choose to work there. They were displaced from their homes, stripped of freedom, and forced into grueling work under harsh wartime conditions. This period marks the darkest chapter in the company's lineage. When Nazi Germany fell in May 1945, the Allied powers initiated the denazification process to investigate business owners connected to the regime. Hugo Ferdinand Boss was brought before a tribunal. Boss died shortly after, in 1948. But his factory didn't die with him. Under new family leadership, the company made a dramatic pivot. They abandoned military gear entirely and focused on men's ready-to-wear suits. By the 1970s and 80s, high-end marketing, Hollywood product placements, and luxury rebranding turned Hugo Boss into a global symbol of wealth and power. By the late 1990s, victims groups and historians began demanding accountability from corporate entities that profited during the Third Reich. Instead of continuing to deny the past, the modern management of Hugo Boss took a rare step. In the late 2000s, they financed an independent study. When the findings were published in 2011, the company issued an official public statement on its website, expressing profound regret to those who suffered severe hardship at the factory. It was a stark admission. Can a company ever truly separate itself from the actions of its founder, or does history remain stitched into the label? Subscribe for more hidden brand histories.